Hi everyone and welcome to the latest edition of NCHC Between the Boards. I'm Greg Ankers. Coming up on tonight's show as the second half of the league season kicks off, we will hear from the Denver Pioneers as they reflect on how their first half of the season went. We'll get you caught up on all the latest news and notes from around the league, including the latest look at the Pairwise rankings, always important during the second half of the season. But before we get to all of that, we have plenty of highlights to get to, and we will drop the puck on our Spotlight series featuring a Minnesota Duluth team that starts the second half the same way it ended the first half of their season. 16 of their first 18 games were against ranked opponents, and this past weekend fared no different as they faced off against North Dakota, who entered the weekend ranked number 1 in the nation. In this highly anticipated series on Friday night, the teams would skate to a scoreless tie after one, but in the second, Minnesota Duluth opens the scoring. Deflection comes to Kyle Osterberg out in front as he gives the Bulldogs a 1-0 lead. That lead would hold into the third. Midway through, Connor Gorder skating in, fires that one home to tie things up at a goal apiece. But just a minute after that, on the other end, Tony Cameronese going to get the sweet feed from Willie Raskob. Great patience by Raskob skating in. That puts UMD out in front 2-1. Just a minute after that, Duluth strikes again. Carson Susi skating in, beats Zane McIntyre there for a 3-1 Bulldogs lead, and then just for good measure with seconds remaining, Alex Iafallo puts the icing on the cake as Duluth takes the opener, winning this one by the final score of 4-1. On Saturday night, North Dakota hoping to avoid getting swept at home, but in the first, Duluth strikes first again. Off the rebound, Willie Raskob is there to put it in, and Duluth takes a 1-0 lead. Later in the period, though, North Dakota gets things going. Brendan O'Donnell with the wrister here. That makes it a 1-all game. Into the second, North Dakota would continue their scoring surge now. Mark McMillan takes the feed up ahead and beats the goaltender there to make it 2-1 North Dakota. They were not done. Later, O'Donnell going to get his second goal of the night off the turnover. Connor Gorder feeds it to him, and it's 3-1 North Dakota at that point. Moments after that, UND on the attack once again. Nick Schmaltz skating in, feeds to streaking Drake Kajula. That makes it 4-1. In the third, Bulldogs looking to bite back on the power play. Justin Crandall going to get the goal on the rebound effort there. That cuts the deficit in half as it's a 4-2 game. But 5 minutes later, O'Donnell would come calling again for his first career hat trick. Fires home the one-timer there. North Dakota avoids the sweep, gets the split, winning it Saturday. 5-2 is the final. When we come back, we'll dive back into action from January 9th and 10th and some big NCHC games. Welcome back. As the NCHC race heats up in the second half of the season, the Omaha Mavericks find themselves just 1 point out of first place, playing host to a Denver squad that's looking to play catch-up with just 7 league games played to date. And this series would start off with a bang. Denver going to get the party started. Daniel Doremus with the goal here to give the Pioneers a 1-0 lead. They take a 2-0 lead into the second period, looking to add to it. Zach LaRaza wide open on the backside, gets the goal, and it's 3-0 Pioneers. But that would ignite Omaha at the other end. Avery Peterson skating in, point blank. That makes it 3-1. The Mavs keep it going. Later in the period, Jake Gensel going to get the goal here, firing top shelf to make it 3-2. And less than a minute after that, Omaha's going to get the equalizer from Jono Davis from behind the net, bangs it in off Evan Cowley to tie things up at 3 goals apiece. In the third, Denver would look to regain the lead midway through the period. Matt Tabram with the goal here to make it 4-3 Pioneers, but Omaha has another answer at the other end. David Pope going to get the game-tying goal here, skating around from the back of the net, ties things up at 4 goals apiece. And then a minute after that, a scramble out front on the power play. Dominic Zombo diving in. That's your game winner as Omaha takes the opener of this series. 5-4 would be the final. On Saturday, fans looking to throw the fish as Omaha would start the scoring in this one in the first 3.5 minutes. It's Austin Ortega with the goal to make it 1-0 Mavs, and that would be all that Kirk Thompson would need at the other end as he stops 39 shots as Omaha takes it. 1-0 would be the final as they get the sweep and move into first place in the NCHC. Miami took on St. Cloud to start the second half of their NCHC schedule on the road in the second. Things looking good for the Redhawks. Sean Corrali with the goal there to make it 1-0 Redhawks. But later in the period, a 5-on-3 for St. Cloud and they cash in. David Morley with the goal here to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. In the third, St. Cloud keeps it rolling. Joe Raycamp going to get the goal from just inside the blue line there to make it 2-1 Huskies. Then later in the period, David Morley. Puck comes off the boards right to him, point blank. He makes it count. 3-1 would be the final as St. Cloud takes the opener on Friday night. On Saturday, St. Cloud hoping to keep it rolling just a couple minutes in. Johnny Brodzinski with the wrister there makes it 1-0 St. Cloud early. Late in the first period now, working a power play. Patrick Russell going to get the goal right out in front to make it 2-0 Huskies after one. Miami looking to get back into it midway through the second. Kevin Morris on the power play, bangs that one in out front, and it's a 2-1 hockey game. Would St. Cloud have an answer in the third? Looking for the sweep. Joe Raycamp going to get the nice feed there from Brodzinski to make it 3-1 Huskies. Miami trying to answer back once again, and it's Austin Zarnik. Will he get going in the second half? Good start there, gets the goal to make it 3-2, but St. Cloud State gets the sweep as they win this one by the final of 3-2. Western Michigan starting the second half of their season with a home-and-home against Notre Dame, starting out in Kalamazoo. In the first, Western Michigan gets on the board first. A streaking in, diving Colton Hargrove puts the Broncos on top 1-0. Late in the first, though, Mario Lucia answers at the other end for the Fighting Irish, right out in front there with the deflection. That ties things up at a goal apiece. It'd be 2-2 into the third. Western Michigan looking to regain the lead, and they're going to get it. Sweet move by Justin Kovacs as he buries the biscuit there to make it 3-2 Western Michigan, and they would add on to that later in the period. Willem Nong Lambert makes it a 2-goal hockey game as Western Michigan takes game one. 4-2 would be the final. The series would then shift to South Bend for the series finale. In the first, Notre Dame jumps out early in this one. Thomas DePauli with the goal here to put the Irish out in front by a 1-0 advantage. Later in the period, more Notre Dame. Vince Hinostroza with the goal to make it 2-0 Irish, but Western would get it going after that. Still in the first, in fact, just 12 seconds after the last goal at the other end, Justin Kovacs with the goal here to cut the deficit in half, and it's a 2-1 hockey game. Western Michigan would tie it, though, before the teams would head to the locker room. Will Kessel on the power play stuffs that one in out front, and it's a 2-2 hockey game. It'd be 3-3 in the third when Colton Hargrove comes calling again, skating in to the circle. He gets it there. Western Michigan goes on to win this one. 4-3 would be the final. Coming up next, we'll go back to just after the new year and recap all the non-conference and exhibition games that took place from January 2nd through the 6th. Welcome back to the show. We're recapping all the non-conference and exhibition action that started back on Friday, January 2nd, including a non-conference tilt in St. Cloud as the Huskies played host to Quinnipiac. The Huskies looking to snap a 3-game losing streak as the weekend began. Husky fans hoping their team can stop the skid. They would get opportunities in the second, down 1-0. Great feed from Daniel Tedesco over to Andrew Prochnow, but he can't bury the biscuit, and it stays a 1-0 hockey game. Later in the period, another Prochnow opportunity from just inside the blue line, but the save is made by Quinnipiac, and we stay 1-0. St. Cloud would trail 2-0 later in the period when David Morley out in front bangs that one in, and it's a 2-1 hockey game. Moments later, still in the second, Tedesco gets his name called once again. Charges in, buries in the rebound. That ties things up at 2 goals apiece. In the third, St. Cloud State would snap the skid with the game winner here from Judd Peterson as St. Cloud takes game one of this non-conference showdown, winning it 3-2. On Saturday, Quinnipiac would bounce back. In the first, Tommy Schutz, short-handed, shoots that one in for a 1-0 Bobcats lead. In the second, Quinnipiac looking to add to it. Tim Clifton going to get the goal here from the far circle. That makes it a 2-0 hockey game. In the third, more from the Bobcats. Clifton on the power play with the big blast here. That makes it 3-0. St. Cloud State would finally get on the board later in the period, trying to cut into this deficit. Johnny Brodzinski skating in makes it 3-1, but Quinnipiac earns the split as they win on Saturday night. 4-1 is the final score. Miami looking to ring in the new year with a couple wins in Troy, New York against RPI. In the first, off the faceoff, Riley Barber skating around, goes 5-hole for that one as the Redhawks jump out to a 1-0 lead. In the second, just 22 seconds into the period, Chris Bradley working a power play for RPI just inside the blue line, holds it in, scores the goal to tie things up at 1 apiece. Andrew Schmidt, though, at the other end, answers back for Miami. Here on the loose puck, he finds it and buries it for a 2-1 Miami lead. Then, working a power play, Riley Barber puts that one home for a 3-1 Miami lead. In the third, RPI trying to get back in it. Drew Mellinson going to get the goal here to make it a 3-2 game, but Miami hangs on to win this one, and the series opener winning it 3-2 would be the final in the opener. On Saturday, Miami then looking for the sweep in the first, down up 1-0 rather. Alex Gasek with a scoring opportunity here, point blank, can't put it in, but later in the period, Austin Zarnik gets the goal here to make it 2-0 Redhawks. 7 seconds after that, on the ensuing faceoff, the Redhawks going to get back into the scoring column. Cody Murphy skating in, fires that one home through the goal pads of the goaltender. That makes it 3-0 Miami. Jay Williams, all stellar at the other end. 22 saves in the shutout effort here as Miami gets the sweep, winning it Saturday night 3-0 the final. Denver going Ivy League to start the new year, starting out at Dartmouth in the third, trailing 1-0, but on a power play, Danton Heinen finds the soft spot to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. At the other end of the ice, Evan Cowley, brilliant in this one, had 43 saves as this one ends in a 1-all draw. Denver would stay in Hanover, New Hampshire for a Saturday game against Brown in this one. Pick it up in the second. Brown already leading 1-0, and Sam Lafferty skating in, fires home the wrister there. That made it 2-0 Brown, but Denver would answer back later in the period. Ty Loney going to get the Pios on the board here with the blast from the point. That makes it a 2-1 hockey game on the rebound effort. Then later in the period, Danton Heinen gets his second of the weekend with a tip-in out in front. That makes it a 2-2 game as they skate into the third. Still tied, but just 1:18 into the period. Trevor Moore going to fire that one home, going top shelf, and Denver takes the first lead of the weekend with a 3-2 advantage. Then later, though, tied at 3, it's Moore again skating in, draws the penalty, doesn't matter, scores the goal. That made it 4-3 Denver. And then in the closing seconds, Moore adds the empty netter as he gets the goal there. Denver takes this one 5-3 would be the final. Colorado College also heading out east for some games, starting with a series in Providence against John Gillies and the Friars in the second, down 1-0. Zach Amon with the great effort to tie things up at 1 goal apiece. A couple minutes after that, CC going to grab the lead. Sam Rothstein rings that one home for a 2-1 Tigers advantage. In the third, though, tied at 2. CC going to jump back out in front again. Michael King with the big blast from the point here makes it a 3-2 Tigers lead. Providence, though, would regain the lead at 4-3, but with a couple minutes to go in regulation, Ian Young gets the equalizer to tie things up at 4 goals apiece as the teams skate into overtime. Just seconds to go. Providence on the attack. Mark Jankowski with your game winner as the Friars avoid the upset, winning it 5-4 in the series opener. The series finale next day. In the first, CC going to jump out with the early lead. Cody Bradley going to sweep this one in for a 1-0 Tigers advantage. It would be 2-1 Providence, however, in the second, but Colorado College going to jump right back in it. Peter Stojkovic going to skate into the picture here and gets the easy goal out in front to tie things up at 2 goals apiece. In the third, trailing once again 3-2, but working a power play, and Sam Rothstein going to get the goal here to tie things up at 3 apiece, and another wild one. But 5 minutes after that, Providence gets the eventual game winner here from John Gilmore, as that makes it 4-3. Providence would go on to win and get the sweep of this series, winning it 5-3. Colorado College would then head to Yukon to take on the Connecticut Huskies, and they would win this one. 4-1 would be the final, thanks to goals by Charlie Taft, Scott Wamsgans, Jacob Slavin, and Zach Amon to close out their East Coast road trip on a winning note. How about some exhibition hockey? U.S. National Under-18 team visiting North Dakota in Grand Forks. Late in the first on the power play, Tucker Poolman punching that one in for a North Dakota 1-0 lead. In the second, tied at 1, Jordan Schmaltz skating in. He fires that one home glove side to make it 2-1 UND. Then seconds into the third, Michael Parks with the shorthanded opportunity. Turnover down low, goes top shelf. That made it 3-1. North Dakota rolls in the exhibition, winning it by the final of 7-2. In other exhibition action, Minnesota Duluth traveled to Ontario to take on Lakehead University. In Game 1 of that series, Minnesota Duluth won 3-2 thanks to goals by Carson Kuhlman, Austin Farley, and Andy Walensky. In the series finale in Game 2, Minnesota Duluth won 8-4 with 7 players scoring, including Willie Raskob, who had 2 goals in the winning effort. As the Denver Pioneers start the second half of the season, they reflect on the first half of the year. That's next. You're watching NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back to the show as the second half of the season is heating up for teams across the NCHC. It was a solid start for Jim Montgomery's bunch at Denver University. Let's hear from the Pioneers as they reflect on the first half of the season and get ready for an intriguing NCHC race in the second half.
We're a much better hockey team than we were last year. Everyone's on the same page. We know how we want to play, and I think we're a much harder team to play against.
In years past, we've had a lot of guys leaving to sign pro deals, and last year nobody really left. We lost 2 key guys with Sam and Dave, but this is definitely the tightest knit team I've had coming into a season with the most returning guys, and the big senior class really helps all of us come together.
Our good win this year that we've had is when we played CC. We played really well against that game, and that's always a big game for us, big rivalry game.
The North Dakota weekend I thought was a really big test for us, and I thought we handled that well. We played really well Friday, it's how we wanted to play, and then Saturday night as well. But I think that series for us just kind of showed how well we can play.
Our freshmen have definitely helped a significant amount. We've got Dan Heinen, who's leading scorer right now, and I think that definitely helps us out.
Every team in the conference is good, no matter who you're playing every night. It's a challenge, so we just got to be consistent, like I said, and really battle.
We need to play a little bit more better for goaltenders, Callie and Gillette, and I think if we do that, we could definitely be a national championship team to contend with.
I wouldn't say we're happy or satisfied yet, because we know we still have a long way to go, and we know that we haven't reached our potential yet, and we're excited to work towards reaching our potential and hopefully having some success.
If we've learned from the losses we've had and some of the wins where maybe we mismanaged a game and we're lucky to come out with a win and we don't repeat those mistakes, I think we're going to be very good down the stretch.
Denver closed the first half of the season winning 5 of 7, but fell and got swept by Omaha last weekend. This weekend now they're hoping to bounce back from that sweep in a crucial series against St. Cloud State.
St. Cloud is always a good team. They were tough for us last year. They're a team that every year they have a really good team and they're well coached, so we got to be prepared.
Well, St. Cloud, you got to stay out of penalty box. Their power play is so dangerous, and they're really good in transitional offense. So we're going to make sure that we're above pucks against them.
Coming up next on the show, we'll get you set up for this weekend's game, including all the latest news and notes from around the league, and we'll also take a look at the latest Pairwise rankings. That's next on NCHC Between the Boards. Welcome back. As we get you closer to the drop of the puck on this weekend series, let's take a look back at the news and notes from around the league over the past couple weeks, starting with the Bauer Players of the Week. From the time frame of December 20th to January 4th, offensive honors go to Austin Ortega of Omaha. He had 3 goals and an assist in that time frame. He was also named the HCA Player of the Month for December. Defensive honors go to Taylor Fleming of Western Michigan. He had 3 assists as Western Michigan placed 3rd at the Three Rivers Classic. Rookie honors go to Danton Heinen of Denver, the 3rd time he's been named Rookie of the Week for his 2 goals and 3 assists in that time frame. And goaltender honors went to Jay Williams of Miami, who gave up no goals over 2 games and had 37 saves in that stretch. More recently, for the week of January 5th, offensive honors go to Joe Raycamp of St. Cloud State. He had 2 game-winning goals and an assist in a series versus Miami. Defensive honors go to Willie Raskob of Minnesota Duluth for a goal and 2 assists at North Dakota. Rookie honors go to Avery Peterson of Omaha, who had a goal and 2 assists in a series over Denver. And goaltender honors go to Zane McIntyre from North Dakota, the 3rd time he's earned this honor, for his .937 save percentage and stopping 74 of 79 shots in a split against Minnesota Duluth. The Pairwise rankings, as promised, look like this, with 4 teams in the top 10 coming from the NCHC. Minnesota Duluth and Omaha sit 3 and 4. North Dakota and Miami sit 6th and 7th. The USCHO.com poll looks like this, with 4 teams from the league in the top 10. North Dakota sits 3rd with 9 first-place votes. The Bulldogs from Duluth sit 5th with 4 first-place votes. Omaha and Miami sit 8 and 9, with Denver sneaking in at number 13. In the USA Today poll, also featuring 4 NCHC teams in the top 10, North Dakota sits 2nd with 8 first-place votes. Minnesota Duluth 5th. Omaha picked up 1 first-place vote. They sit in 7th, and Miami is currently in 10th. The league standings look like this. After league action got fired up last weekend, Omaha currently sits atop with 26 points with 12 games played. Minnesota Duluth and North Dakota are nipping at their heels currently as we enter this weekend's play. And of course, we want to remind you, as always, we'll have a brand new show with all the latest highlights coming your way on Friday, January 30th, right here at 6:30. We hope to see you then. Until then, enjoy all the action.